Welcome back to my channel. My name is Stephanie Chase and today I am reviewing AEW Dynamite. It was February the 8th. It was live from El Paso, Texas, and it featured MJF versus Konosuke Takeshita and Bryan Danielson versus Rush, as well as the Acclaimed versus the Gunn Club for the AEW Tag Team Championship. I can't wait to get into that one. But before we start, don't forget to give me a follow on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. You can find them all at Stephanie M. Chase. And if you want to help out this channel, the links to my Patreon and OnlyFans are in the description box. And of course, don't forget to subscribe. Yes, if you're watching this video and you haven't done it already, go and click the subscribe button and also turn on notifications to be the first to find out when I publish new videos. This week, I put up a video where I ranked all the factions in AEW. And it wasn't just me putting them in order of greatness. I also went deep in these factions. And I'm not just talking about the Dark Order and the Elite, the JAS, the factions that we see currently now. I went in there. I went in on the Pinnacle. I went in on the Nightmare Collective, the Nightmare Family, all of it. So go check out that video. It's really, really fun. I also have an interview coming on my channel this week. It might be out before this video. It might not be. I'm not sure, but look out for that. It's someone really, really cool that I've wanted to interview for a long time. And there's more great stuff coming next week. Of course, next week is the week of WWE Elimination Chamber, so I will have some content surrounding that. So are you ready to talk about Dynamite? I'm ready to talk about Dynamite. I am so ready to talk about this Dynamite. I will say straight off the bat, this Dynamite had 2 matches on it that I had to write down because I'm keeping a little list of my matches of the year so far. And then it had some other things on it which made me go, that was interesting. That was interesting. That was something I'm going to need to have a think about. I thought overall, though, it was a really good show. And there's certainly a lot of talking points, which is good for someone like me who likes to talk and talk and talk and talk about AEW. So, okay, we were in El Paso, Texas, and I have to say, firstly, this was a really odd arena. I could not decide if I liked this arena or not visually. This ceiling had this stuff on it that I don't know what it was. At some point, it looked like netting from an army assault course. At other points, it looked like leaves, like a pattern of leaves made by light or something. I don't know what it was, and I am still undecided on whether or not it looked cool. I don't know. What did you guys think? It was an unusual looking venue for sure. So that kind of messed with my brain early on in the show. I was just looking at this venue like, what is going on? But anyway, we started off with a world title eliminator match. Yeah, those eliminator matches that Tony loves so much. It was MJF and he defeated Konosuke Takeshita. Now, I think this was an excellent match because MJF, we don't see him wrestle very often. But when we do, I feel like he always has something to prove, and that match makes his matches even better. Like, think about that match he had against Darby Allin. I think it was at Full Gear 2022. No, 2021. I was there. Hashtag I was there. Like, that match really opened a lot of people's eyes as far as what they thought of MJF in ring. So he's always going out there with something to prove. And I think what he wanted to prove this week was, if you think I can't do an Iron Man match, I can. So I think for everyone, the most memorable spot was when Takeshita tried a lariat and MJF landed on his feet. He landed on his feet. And I have to say as well, MJF looks in tremendous shape. Like, goals. He is absolute body goals right now. In the match, we saw MJF trying to wear down Takeshita's arm so he could get on the salt of the earth eventually. And when he did do it, it was after Takeshita missed a senton atomico. Takeshita did have to tap out in the end. But post-match, MJF got the diamond ring, he pie-faced the referee, and he hit Takeshita with it, busting him open. And Bryan Danielson sprinted down, but Takeshita was left completely bloody. He was the first bloody person that we would see on this show. So really, really great match. I liked this rare occasion of MJF wrestling, but it made sense because of the connection between Danielson and Takeshita. Takeshita was getting some wins, but now a loss, but it's to MJF. So I don't think that's a bad thing at all, but really, really, really excellent. Next, we had another title eliminator match, this time for the women's title where Jamie Hayter took on the Bunny. This was a very nothing match because it was way too short and most of it happened in break. But I think what happened was that the Bunny had a really rough landing on Hayter's exploder. So when we come back from break, it was about 30 seconds before Hayter put her away. So yeah, I think that there was an injury here and I really hope that the Bunny's okay. This storyline development we got came afterwards when Renee was backstage with Toni Storm and Saraya. They called Hayter a loser before attacking Leva Bates. Of all people, the lovely Leva Bates. I'll tell you a Leva Bates story. At one of the scrums, she like fell and I was sitting down and I literally caught her before she landed on me. It was really, really funny. Love Leva so much. And yes, I guess I did the opposite. Like I actually rescued Leva where these girls attacked her. They spray painted an L on her like they did on Rampage this past week. And they said that they aren't here to make friends. Still just not enjoying this at all. We'll see where it goes. I'm personally not enjoying it. I'm not enjoying this, like now the spray paint stuff. It was bad on Rampage as well. Yeah. Then we had Lexi in MJF's dressing room. This was a very strange promo. So MJF basically told us this story that started about his time in high school, having a car. He got some like speeding tickets. And there was a girl called Liv that he really fancied. And they went to, I think it was prom. And then they got in a car accident. Now, I thought that he was leaning into Kane's backstory here, but no, Liv cracked her head on the windshield and then the cops came, but before they came, MJF switched places with her to make it look like she was driving so he would not get in trouble. And then he said that Bryan Danielson is a loser and he's a winner in life and he's proud of being a scumbag. Controversial promo, I must say. Okay, firstly, Liv survived, so that's good. I really didn't know what to make of this. I saw a lot of people like really praise it, and some people think that he went too far. I'm still like undecided. I don't really think he went too far, but he's leaning so heavily into being the heel, like scumbag that you can't cheer for at all now. And that makes me happy because I've spoken extensively about like the MJF promo in LA where everyone started cheering him and then he disappeared, and how I really did not believe that they should ever go anywhere near being a face with MJF because he was one of the few genuine heel characters in wrestling that people liked to boo. So I do like that they are just making him a straight up heel now and going to kind of extreme lengths to do it. I mean, how can you cheer this man now? He switches places after a car accident with a very injured young woman. So yeah, interesting promo, and there'll be more from MJF later on the show. Then we had the GARCIA-GUEVARA gauntlet, Ricky Starks taking on the members of the JAS to get to Chris Jericho. Now, Tony Schiavone said at the beginning of this match, I thought that he was going to take them all on separate weeks and then, get to Jericho at the end. I thought that too, Tony. Like all week, I have heard people just not differing opinions on whether all these matches were taking place on one night or if it was one match a week. They never really made that clear. With Gauntlet, you would think it was on one night, but it really didn't seem like, especially the Jericho match would be on one night. But anyway, so it was set up that Ricky would face Jericho if he got through the other members of the JAS tonight. So first up was Angelo Parker, that he made quick work of him, and then Matt Menard, quick work of him as well. Justice for Daddy Magic and Cool Hand Angelo Parker. Please let these guys do more in the tag division. Anyway, then Daniel Garcia and Sammy Guevara came out together. Well, Daniel Garcia was ahead. His pants have been customized. And so it was like trying to not let Ricky know exactly which one of them he would get. Anyway, it was Garcia. They actually managed to have a very good match together, but shenanigans. So they were fighting on the apron, hitting forearms and slaps, and then Starks hit a spear on the apron. And as he got up, he was clocked with a Judas effect by a masked fan in the crowd. This fan was wearing a lucha mask, he was wearing a t-shirt, and he was wearing a long sleeve t-shirt under it. So kind of looked like a skater kid, but wasn't. So anyway, Garcia rolled Starks back into the ring, pinned him immediately. 1, 2, 3. The masked man, this fan, comes into the ring. He unmasks. It's Chris Jericho. He then starts taking off the skater boy outfit just so we can be sure. This angle, it was interesting. Okay, so Jericho has done the being a masked person in the crowd before. It's a little bit of a throwback. The commentary, I thought, sold this so badly. There were problems with commentary all night, but I think it was Shivani. They're like, that fan hit something like a Judas effect. Did not work for me. Of course it was Jericho. Like no one thought it was anyone but Jericho. It would have been a way better swerve if it was actually someone else, just in this get up. But I mean, he tried to cover himself. He's wearing a mask and he was wearing the long sleeve shirt as well, so you couldn't see the tattoos. But I just thought the commentary selling of it made it seem even more hokey than it was. So is this a good thing or is this a bad thing for the Ricky Starks storyline? Well, I heard a lot of people this week say, why would Ricky Starks want another match with Jericho? Why was he going through all this? He beat him the first time. That's totally true. I guess the reason why was because of the attacks that were done on Starks. Like, remember when he was put through a table by the JAS after their match. So I guess that's why he was willing to go all through all this stuff to get to Chris Jericho. Is this better than them just doing like a one match a week, but with each member of the JAS? I actually think so, because just, doing one match a week for Starks to get to Jericho is like pretty cheap, considering what we've just seen Danielson do, and considering like going through labors or gauntlet, all this stuff is stuff that we see too much in AEW. So to give us a positive spin on it, I guess, it's going to be Jericho versus Starks at Revolution. That's where we're heading. And I guess now that this has happened, we have a few more weeks to tell some story. I want to see some real story be told between these two, because Starks already has a win over Jericho. There's Action Andretti in the mix, who has a win over Jericho. Like, let's tell some story here. Let's tell some story more than just Ricky, I don't know. Ricky just, to me, doesn't really have anything to prove. So I want him to give really definitive reasons why he desperately needs to have this match with Jericho before he can move on. Like, let's think about this. If it was real, someone in Ricky's position, a young babyface who's clocked up wins, including a big win over Chris Jericho, would probably be like, fuck these guys that keep attacking me and meddling. I'm gonna move on to someone else. I'm gonna, I don't know, try and capture the TNT title, try and make myself like the next person in line for MJF after Revolution. So if Ricky is gonna be doing this, I want him to give some definitive reasons for it. Yeah, and also more Daniel Garcia, please. Okay, then we had the Acclaimed backstage with Renee, where Daddy Ass said that he's going to stay in the back for the tag team championship match, and the Bowens looked a little bit hesitant about whether or not this was a good idea, but then they scissored anyway. Okay, here's a bit more of the entertainment side of our sports entertainment. Because Renee was in the trainer's room with Takeshita, who was hurt, and Bryan Danielson, and it was just before Danielson's match, and then they hear the door lock and Rush's music hits. So Bryan Danielson is stuck in the trainer's room. Yes, they did a stuck in the room angle. And then MJF came out and started being like misogynist, talking down to Aubrey and trying to make her count and telling her she wasn't counting fast enough. And then Bryan Danielson burst out of the trainer's room and ran so he could make it for his match. I wasn't a big fan of this. I think getting locked in rooms is just really silly. So when this happened, I was not in the best mood about it. But then this match was freaking excellent. Like, this is 100% going down in my shortlist for match of the year already. It was really bloody, and you know I love blood. And also MJF did do commentary during this match, and he was very good, and it was much needed because I thought it was a particularly bad night for commentary. So there was like, this match was full of chop battles and headbutts, and Danielson got busted open early on, and boy did he bleed. And then at one point he charged at Rush and he hit an overhead throw to the floor, and the blood from Danielson's hair flew onto the camera. That looked really cool. When we got to the end, Rush was throwing forearms. He went for the bull's horn again, but Danielson hit the knee for a close two, and then there was a forearm battle and lots of headbutts. Rush tried a German. Danielson landed on his feet. He hit the knee again, and he got the pin. So really good match, and I have to commend Rush. Danielson, great as always, but Rush put on a fantastic heel performance. And this crowd, they were a very good crowd up until a point, and they were super into this match. They absolutely loved it. So once it was over, MJF hit the ring. He hit Danielson with the diamond ring. He locked on the salt of the earth, and then he was attacking security guards, and they couldn't get him off Danielson quick enough. But so now that Danielson has won this match, he is officially MJF's challenger for Revolution. Now, what I had said before that was my kind of issue with this storyline was we were getting amazing Bryan Danielson matches, yes, but it just seemed like that. I wasn't feeling that Danielson actually really wants the AEW championship. Like, what does it mean to him? Why does he want to be champion? It felt like, you know, Danielson just loves to have great matches. He loves to fight. He loves the violence. He loves all of it. And MJF was kind of almost rewarding him by giving him all these great opponents, even though he was getting hurt. So, like I was saying with Jericho and Starks, we now that this match is set up, we have a few weeks to tell some stories. So I want some more substance added to this story. I want Danielson to convince me more on why he has to beat MJF to be the AEW champion. Like, what would that mean to him? Because we know in real life that Danielson's not a guy that cares about that. So I think I find it kind of hard to separate what he will say in real life from how he's being portrayed on TV. So a little more, we have a few weeks now to build a little bit more of a story, and hopefully it's going to be very good. Because you also have to remember that this is an Iron Man match. So they are not just selling us on MJF versus Bryan Danielson and asking us to part with money to watch that match. They're also asking us to stay invested in this match for an hour. That is going to be an hour long watch. So I think they have to do some really good storytelling to make sure that we are fully engaged throughout the whole match. Like, think about it, WrestleMania 12, Bret and Shawn Iron Man match. I thought they told a great story there, and I love that match, and everyone I've spoken to tells me that that match sucks and they found it really boring. And that was Bret Hart and Shawn Michaels. So MJF and Danielson, they really have to do I just want them to pull something really good out of the bag here to get us, you know, even more invested. Okay, guys, you know what I think about celebrities in wrestling? Well, here we had two guys from Impractical Jokers, which is a show that I only know from it being heavily advertised when I was in America once last year. I guess it was when the last season was on. They stole Chris Jericho's bat, and he's apparently going to respond to them during their show tomorrow night. Um, yeah, I didn't like this. It was awkward. It's weird. I didn't even understand like when this was filmed. I mean, whenever it was filmed, it was when a match was going on because you could hear the audio, like you could hear the sound of a crowd cheering for a match like in the background of this. Why they didn't think to film it again, I don't know. And also, I'm pretty sure Impractical Jokers isn't a live show, so responding on the premiere, I couldn't suspend my disbelief for this. We then had the Elite, Kenny Omega, and the Young Bucks defeating AR Fox and Top Flight to attain the Trios Championship. So, match-wise, with the MJF and Danielson match in the show, this Dynamite was so good that the Elite got lost. It felt like they were in a bit of a death spot here, and it just like felt like there wasn't that much investment in this match. It started pretty slow, but it got good after the break. I thought AR Fox was really good in this match, and he had a good, like, a close call, nearly getting the win, but it wasn't his day. He got hit by Omega with a V-trigger and a Doctor Bomb. That was only for 2. Then Kenny hit another V-trigger, and he attempted a one-winged angel, but Fox rolled through for 2. That was a good spot. And then they traded pin attempts before Omega ultimately won. It was a good match. It was a good showing for AR Fox. I would like to see AR Fox face Kenny one-on-one. If you can make that happen, Tony Khan. But I think on this Dynamite, it got lost, and it made me think, like, this is the Elite. The Elite are having a match in Dynamite, and we basically all forgot about it because this show it started so strong. We had quite an ongoing storyline in the first hour with MJF. We had an amazing match between Danielson and Rush. So the Elite just seemed like an afterthought. And I mean, I've never been behind these trios belts. I did say before that I thought they were very self-indulgent, and I still think that they're keeping 3 of the company's biggest stars and 3 of the company's founders in this little trios universe, and I just don't think that's the best use of them. And I think something like this kind of exemplifies it, because Omega having a match on Dynamite and the Bucks having a match on Dynamite should be a big deal, and this match just felt a little bit inconsequential. Then we had Lexi backstage with Stokely Hathaway, who was saying that there were no cracks in the firm. He was blaming it on Hook, saying all the problems stem from Hook, and then Hook walked up behind Hathaway and put him in an armbar, and Lexi was screaming and told him to let go. I thought this was really bad, to be honest. I 100% would have reshot this. I do not expect backstage interviewers to be like Tony award-winning actors, but this I definitely would have reshot. I just did not think it came across well at all. And just the idea of Stokely talking about Hook and then Hook comes up behind him, very hokey, and definitely needed a redo before it went on national television. Okay, the big finale of the show, the main event. It was the Guns against the AEW Tag Team Champions, the Acclaimed. This match felt really slow at the start, and the crowd didn't feel into it compared to how we'd heard them say during the Danielson and Rush match. We had some wrestling, we had a commercial break, and then it was welcome to Shenanigan Town Population 4. This match just became a whole shenanigan fest. I don't know how many times can I say the word shenanigan. There was shenanigans. So it started when Austin Gunn pulled the ref in front of him. So Bowens hit the ref accidentally with a forearm. The ref was on the outside. Austin hit a quick draw on Bowens and grabbed the title, but Billy Gunn hit the ring. Now it was a will he or won't he turn on his son, on the Acclaimed, situation, because they'd slightly teased that before, especially with Bowens looking at him funny when he didn't want to come out. Billy Gunn shoved Bowens out of the way, and then Colton hit his dad with the AEW tag belt. Then Bowens hit the arrival on Austin. So Caster hit the mic drop. There was no referee. Colton sent Caster into the railing, and then he put the referee back in the ring. The referee was all groggy. He broke up a pin. Bowens tried to roll up. He was sent to the ropes, and then he was clocked by Colton with the title belt. Austin then got the referee, who slowly counted to 3, and there you go. The Guns are the new AEW Tag Team Champions. The reaction to this was not good. It wasn't like it did. I guess the reaction that they were looking for was like a shock and the crowd like really booing the heels, but it was more like a stunned WTF silence. And what did not help was the Guns entrance music. I like the Guns entrance music a lot, but it does not work when a big angle has just happened and they're walking up the ramp holding title belts. That made it seem even more awkward. Like awkward was the way to describe this. They were trying to get like fan reactions in the crowd, and they were probably looking for like exaggerated reactions, but a lot of fans were just there like, huh? Like they just couldn't process that this title change had happened. And it's one of those things, like this Guns and Acclaimed storyline has been going on a while. And yes, there's something there because of the whole Billy Gunn stuff, but I do not think that we've seen enough of the Guns as a tag team act in ring to warrant them being tag team champions yet, even if it makes for a cool twist in the storyline or whatever. This payoff did not feel earned to me at all. And the crowd that are usually so behind the acclaimed certainly did not react strong enough here. If this had been, an actually effective, well done title change, just no. And then there was some time left on Dynamite for once. Usually like they're like going right up to the last second. There was time left here. So to add to the awkwardness, they just played the Acclaim's music when they all stood in the ring. And they didn't even look that sad about losing the title belts. It was odd. It was very, very questionable. So yeah, I guess they'll have a match at Revolution and maybe the Acclaimed can win the belts back. I don't know. I don't know like where they're going with this at all, but do I think it was the right call? Right now, I'm going to say no, but maybe after a couple of weeks of story, I'll change my mind on that. But it certainly did not come off well on TV or as intended. But this was a really great Dynamite. Like it really, really was. You had two excellent matches there. And I think the things that I complained about were just shenanigan based stuff. The shenanigans that were done were on this show in general were too hokey. Of course I want some entertainment and fun stuff and swerves and whatever with my storylines, but I want them to be well done. And there was such great action on this show. It was just let down by the other stuff. And this ending was definitely flat because this crowd who were so hot during Danielson Rush did not seem like the same crowd at the end of this Dynamite. So as for who I was the biggest fan of on the show, I'm gonna be wild and give it to Rush. I thought Rush did such a good job in the match against Bryan Danielson. I think he really showed he showed what a great, powerful, effective heel he can be, and he made me think use this guy more, please, Tony. So I'm gonna give it to Rush. Rush, I am the biggest fan of you this week. So that's all from me. Thank you so much for watching. Remember to go follow me on Twitter at stephchasewrestling and subscribe to this channel. Check out the other videos. Check out me rating the factions. Do you want to know what I really think of the Blackpool Combat Club? Do you want to know what I really, really think of them? Do you want to know the one promo I would never forgive William Regal for? It's all in that video. So go watch it. And stay tuned for more fun videos next week. But until next time, bye!